That RJ Barrett goes number 3 to the New York Knicks. He was thought to be the #1 player on most boards before the season began. Then Zion explodes on the scene. Barrett emotional with his father immediately after, which was another beautiful scene, in part because of something that his late grandfather told him when he was just a kid.
How much were you thinking about your grandfather when the pick was finally in and you knew you were going to play your career in New York?
That was crazy. That was one of the reasons why I was crying, because, you know, we used to watch the Knicks growing up, and he'd always tell me that I was going to be a Knick. And, you know, it's sad that he can't be here to see it, but I'm just very happy, man.
Brian Windhorst joins us now, been covering the Knicks angle here, and they're working out guards, Brian, until the 11th hour. But when did they know that RJ Barrett was the guy they'd take third?
Let's see, what day was the lottery? Someday in May?
Yeah.
They've known for weeks. And, you know, they did their due diligence. They were a little bit worried, Scott, that somebody would make a deal with Memphis and jump up ahead to get Barrett. So they worked out some guards when they came here, Darius Garland and Kobe White. When they came here to New York for the draft, they were here, so it was a home court advantage, bring them up here to their facility and take a look at them. They are thrilled with this pick. And all this chaos that reigned throughout the top 10, the dozens of trades and everything that got moved around, the phones were quiet here all day. They rejected all offers over the last couple of weeks for that #3 pick. They think RJ Barrett is going to be a star player. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But for right now, the New York Knicks are a happy team.
Well, when free agency comes around, Brian, for months we've thought what could happen, and there were all these grand plans and KD and maybe Kyrie or maybe Kemba. Now it looks like maybe none. What's the Knick plan when we get to July 1?
Yeah, now you had to go up and bring them down. You couldn't let the Knicks fans have one happy night.
It's my job to ask decent questions, isn't it?
I know. Look, this is what the Knicks are saying. They're saying, we always planned to build through the draft. We didn't just want to do through free agency. But that's coded, Scott. Obviously, they had grand plans for this summer. They cleared the cap space. Jim Dolan went on Michael Kay's show and said they were hoping to get free agents. Right now, it looks a little shaky. And to be honest with you, the Brooklyn Nets keep proceeding like they think they're getting not only Kyrie Irving, but a second max player. They made a little move earlier this week when they didn't give an offer sheet to Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. Tonight, they traded out of a first-round pick. They got him a little extra cap space. They're right on the verge of getting that 2 max slots, and they're moving in that direction because they think they've got a chance of getting the double header, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But the Knicks aren't giving up. They think that they're going to get a meeting with Kawhi Leonard. They think that they're going to make a pitch to Kevin Durant, and they want to make a pitch to Kyrie Irving. They are not giving up. They still think that their position is okay. But obviously, the hopes that were shining bright a few months ago have dimmed a little bit on the free agent front.
Wow, if the Nets make the playoffs and then get KD and Kyrie in the offseason, the Knicks fans that had all of these, you know what, I'm going to stop. This is a night for them to be happy because they got RJ Barrett. I'll leave it at that, Brian. Thank you so much.
Focus on RJ Barrett. Focus
we'll
on
do
RJ
that. Thank you, man.
Thanks,
Great to talk. All right, let's do our research again and summarize some of the other things from this eventful draft. When the dust settles on all of the trades, what do we got? Well, we got the Cavaliers and the Pelicans. They'll end up with 3 first-rounders from this draft. Pelicans end up with quite a haul. So do the Cavs. As for representation from different leagues, last season, the 40th in Big East basketball, just the second time the conference failed to produce a first-rounder. Only other time, 2015, conference responded by winning 2 of the next 3 titles. 11 freshmen were taken in the first round this year. There were actually 10 straight picks that weren't freshmen. The last time there were fewer than 11 first-round freshmen, 2016, when just 10 were selected. One of those freshmen was Cam Reddish, who will play for the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta has made quite a movement towards youth in the last couple of years. Strong core of players, you see, all of whom will be 21 or younger when the season tips off in the fall. Mike Schmitz joins us now. And Mike, obviously, given the fact that they also traded for Bruno Fernando, it means that Atlanta's my favorite team because of all the Terps they've got. What do you make of the moves that Atlanta has made?
I absolutely love what they did today, moving up to number 4 to get DeAndre Hunter. That's the main piece. They needed a guy who can defend multiple positions, who doesn't need the ball, who can space for the floor, and that's what DeAndre Hunter is. He's the best defender in the draft. And then getting a Cam Reddish at number 10, this is a guy who has top 5 talent, needs to be in a situation where he can play off others, not high pressure, just get up and down, shoot transition threes, and develop the rest of his game. Perfect situation for him. Love what the Hawks are doing.
I also get the sense that a lot of people like what Cleveland did, and I don't care about a lot of people as much as I care about your opinion. I just mentioned that haul they've got. Tell me about the Cavaliers and what they managed to accomplish tonight.
Absolutely love it. I think they're building kind of the Portland Trailblazers of the East. They got the number 4 prospect in the draft at number 5 in Darius Garland. And I would just pair him with Colin Sexton and say, we're going to play 2 guards. This is what John Beilein does. It's what he's always done.
Can you do that, though? I'm sorry to interrupt. Those guys are small-ish. I mean, can you go with those 2 guys in today's NBA at your 2 guards?
I think you can. You know, they're not that much smaller than Dame or CJ. Sure, they need to improve as playmakers. There's no doubt about that. But, I mean, with Garland's ability to shoot it with range, I think he can play on it. I think he can play off it. And then just continuing to add big wings around them like a Dylan Windler, 6'8", a better defender than he gets credit for, spaces the floor, and then taking a swing on Kevin Porter at 30. I think it's worth the risk there.
Bol Bol's a guy that you called as polarizing a prospect as there was in the draft. I actually felt badly for the young man. I mean, just, you know, he has to leave the table and then he comes back, just looks miserable by the time he's finally selected. How did he fall this far?
I think it's a combination of the medical and the intel. You know, in today's game, you can't hide from anything. If you have any weaknesses in terms of your work ethic, in terms of your habits, teams know. They know what you're tweeting. They know what's on your social media. And, you know, I think some of that stuff hurt him in terms of, you know, the injury stuff and then the intel as well. But like we've said all along, I mean, he is a big-time talent, and I hope, you know, this is a bit of a wake-up call for him and allows him to kind of lock in and focus on being the best basketball player he can.
Mike, appreciate it, man. You do such great work. Look forward to talking with you more throughout the remainder of the summer.
SVP, appreciate it, man.
Mike Schmitz is awesome. Follow him if you love the game. You'll learn something. You also get to see slow-motion video of people shooting basketballs all over the world. Kawhi went to a baseball game. Yay, Kawhi. He's also on the one big thing.
Warlock. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying if he were a witch and he was casting a spell, wouldn't it look something like this? Wouldn't it look like the Golden State Warriors ravaged by injuries, the world champion Toronto Raptors perhaps about to lose their best player, the Houston Rockets shooting themselves in the foot, and the Boston Celtics losing everybody in free agency? I'm not saying he's a warlock, but it's probably what he'd do if he had a spell to cast. I can't take full credit for that. That was Derek Thompson at The Atlantic who tweeted something like that, and it points out very well this offseason couldn't have gone better for LeBron James. It's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80, and on ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Coming up in just a moment here on the Will Cain Show, we're going to invite in 2016 NFL MVP Matt Ryan to tell us about his expectations for the Atlanta Falcons this year. And although I have said the Zion Williamson hype is real, that he will be a revolutionary player, expect less from the New Orleans Pelicans this season. I'll explain straight ahead here on the Will Cain Show. And if you missed any of our draft talk, including NBA draft analyst Jonathan Givony in Hour 1, go check it out on demand in the Will Cain podcast, brought to you by Eno, the Capital One assistant that catches things that might look wrong with your credit card, sends alerts to your phone, and helps you fix them. What's in your wallet? See CapitalOne.com for more details. The offseason's gone perfectly for LeBron James, and as part of that calculus, it's not just the Houston Rockets and their infighting, it's the Boston Celtics and all the L's they've been taking. From losing Kyrie Irving to now the news that Al Horford is opting out of his contract, and it looks like he will get a bigger deal somewhere else in the NBA. And no ability to trade for Anthony Davis, or no ability combined with motivation to trade for Anthony Davis. And that leaves us with this. What kind of shape are the Celtics in? That's what Nick from Iowa is asking on the Shell Pinzo Performance Line. What's up, Nick? You're on the Will Cain Show.
Will, I love the show. Hey, I would like to know your thoughts on where the Celtics go from here. And what is the ceiling of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown?
All right, man. Thanks for the call. First of all, before I tell you what I think, let me tell you what Stephen A. Smith thinks. He said this on First Take about the state of the Celtics. Here's what he said about their GM first.
Mr. Danny Ainge, enough's enough. We respect Danny Ainge. We respect the job that he has done. It is undeniable. But it's also time that we highlight what he hasn't been able to do. He was reluctant, highly reluctant to pull a trigger and to get a deal. He had the assets. He could have gotten a big-time player. Over the last, how many years has it been? Tell me when a championship has been won without a star. Danny Ainge has not pulled the trigger.
All right, first of all, I think Stephen A. is being unfair to Danny Ainge here. We talked about this a couple days ago on the Will Cain Show. The Celtics have undoubtedly taken some L's. But what would you go back, given a time machine, and tell them to have done? Trading for Kyrie Irving, number one, was a deal they had to do. Okay? You had to trade for Kyrie Irving. You gave up very little, and you take a gamble on a player like that. Trading for Anthony Davis was thus hampered by the acquisition of Kyrie Irving. You couldn't go at the trade deadline when you could presumably beat the Lakers to a deal with your more impressive assets. You had to wait until the offseason. You had to wait until the summer. And the Anthony Davis camp made it clear, not coming or not staying. It's 1 year and done. In that case, you're giving up Jason Tatum. You're going to go 1 year, 12 months, and lose Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Jason Tatum all in a 12-month span. No. So what could Danny Ainge have done there? The only real L that he took that you'd want to go back and say, what about this deal? Would have taken the kind of cojones that I have celebrated in Toronto. The reason I give Masai Ujiri and the reason I give the Toronto Raptors so much credit is because I do think it was a risk. I do think it was a gamble. I'm really not here for these Monday morning quarterbacks who want to tell you it wasn't that risky. It wasn't that big a deal. Oh, they topped out with DeMar DeRozan. Oh, this was an obvious deal to make for Kawhi Leonard on a one-year gamble. That is so easy for everybody to say on a Monday. On Sunday, your butt puckers up and you realize that good is good enough. Most people in the world celebrate or settle for a second-round exit in the NBA playoffs. Most people settle for job security. Most people settle for DeMar DeRozan. Don't give me that it was obvious after the fact. That's you pretending like you're risk tolerant when very, very few are. What Masai and the Raptors did for Kawhi Leonard was to be celebrated. Now, should the Celtics have done that? Should they gone in on Kawhi? Sent away whatever it would have taken to send to the Spurs to beat DeMar DeRozan trade? Probably take Jason Tatum. And in retrospect, with a decent shot to keep Kawhi, the Celtics could be in that position the Raptors are in today. It certainly looks good. That's all 2020 hindsight. That's all Monday morning quarterbacking. I can't pinpoint what exactly we should be saying that Ainge did wrong. Stephen A. says he didn't go get a star. He tried in Kyrie. That's what Stephen A. is getting wrong. He tried. He did go get a star. Everybody thought Kyrie was at the time. Now, we all seem to agree he's a 1B. Should he gone in on Kawhi too? Yes, but only with hindsight being perfect. Should he gone in on AD? He couldn't after he went on Kyrie. This is what Stephen A. had to say about the Celtics now, by the way.
The reality of the situation is that ain't nobody coming to Boston to play for Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge got to draft him. In most instances, he's got to draft him. That's how he's going to have to build or pull off a trade. And when he pulls off a trade, my God, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Nobody's here to sit there and say and cast aspersions on Danny Ainge like he doesn't know what he's doing. We're just simply saying Danny Ainge has been renowned. He's been lauded and praised ad nauseum for, what he's built with the Boston Celtics. But he didn't take him over the hump. And now Al Horford's talking about walking out the door. Kyrie has let them know he's walking out the door. When you look at this team as presently constructed, they're just going to be an average team. And that's more than we expected from Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge doesn't deserve more criticism than he's getting. His project is unfinished, and it is taking a few L's. But we were talking about L's with the Lakers not too long ago. We were talking about they couldn't attract a free agent. I hear you saying, Stephen A., they're not going to attract a free agent. All it takes is one. Maybe not this offseason, maybe the next. They're going to have more cap space with Horford walking out the door, along with Kyrie. They got a hell of a coach in Brad Stevens. They got a young core. And to the caller that asked what I think the top is, I think Jason Tatum is an all-star. That's what his ceiling is. Not much more. I'm not sure he is the absolute best player on a championship team. And I think Jaylen Brown is a hell of a player. I would love to have Jaylen Brown on my team. And I think in the end, the Celtics are going to be a lot better than anybody expects them to be. I think they're going to be all right. Not a championship contender, but don't write them off just quite yet. And certainly don't write off Danny Ainge. All right, coming up, 2016 NFL MVP, Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan is going to join me next on the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Want to go to this year's ESPYs? How about playing in the Apex Legends Pro-Am event with two big names? Go to ebay.com/ESPN to donate for a chance to win. It all benefits the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Go to ebay.com/ESPN for more information and complete rules. Are the Falcons legit contenders this year? I know one guy who thinks they are, and he's next on the Will Cain Show.
Hi, I'm Sage Steele. Coming up tonight at 6 Eastern on SportsCenter, we've got full coverage of the NBA draft hotspots leading up to the #1 overall pick tonight. Plus, could a key call from a Chargers-Chiefs game from last season offer chaos or clarity for the NFL's new pass interference replay rules? And highlights and analysis of Team USA's toughest test yet in the Women's World Cup. SportsCenter with Kevin Nagandi right after PTI.
So powerful and so thin. It's a whole new realm in gaming.
The College World Series continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
With the first pick in the NBA draft.
See how the dominoes fall. The NBA Draft, tonight at 7 on ESPN.
With the first pick in the NBA draft.
See how the dominoes fall. The NBA Draft, tonight at 7 on ESPN.
Oh.
We're delighted to be joined by Jay Billis again as he gets ready to be a part of our extensive Rail Cam, 4-Point Cam, all that draft coverage tonight on ESPN. Jay, if that was the way you described Zion Williamson to start the college basketball season, how will you describe it tonight when he goes #1 overall to the Pelicans?
I'll just say, Trey, that I stand by my original